The next coming of Ann Wolfe in women's boxing. Let's talk about Shadasia Green. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. On the undercard of Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, women's boxer undefeated Shadasia Green out of Paterson, New Jersey, fought Olivia Curry. And it was a fun fight to watch. It was a one-sided fight after the first couple rounds to me. And that's what I want to talk about in the back half of this video. I thought Green looked good. She established a jab. Maybe she can utilize it a little bit more and just stay on the jab, rip with the combinations. Great performance. She showed power. She's a knockout artist. Her knockout percentage was like 91%, I believe, entering this particular fight. And it was a fun fight. Me personally, I'm not a fan of women's boxing getting the 2-minute rounds because I keep seeing these moments where in female women's boxing, one of the women will be hurt and then it seems to always fall and there's only like 20 seconds left. So it's hard to pull the trigger and actually get the stoppages. So the fact that Shadasia Green has such a high knockout percentage, you know, even though she only has 11 or 12 fights, it's a testimony because, again, the less minutes you have in the round, the less chance you have to get something done, right? Because you have less time to work with. I mean, it's just kind of common sense. If you only had 30 minutes to clean your whole house and then you had to go to the airport versus you had an hour, you know, that's double the time, right? Now, interesting, I think Shadasia Green, she has the look. She has kind of an intimidating look. She looks like she means business. I mean, she's probably a cool person if you kick it with her and stuff like that, but she has a real good poker face and she has a couple tats and stuff like that. She looks like she's just all business and ready to learn and ready to work. And I was thinking, especially with the knockout percentage, kind of reminds me of an Ann Wolfe type of style from what I've seen her in the past. And then come to find out she's working with Ann Wolfe, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite women's boxer of all time. And Ann Wolfe, has one of the greatest knockouts in boxing history. And I'm talking male or female. And that was, of course, against the 6'6" Vonda Ward. It's one of my favorite knockouts of all time. She really stretched Ward, right? So I've always been a fan of Ann Wolfe. She was in the Wonder Woman movie, in case you've seen that later on in her career. And that's just a great trainer. I liked the work she was doing with James Kirkland, and I felt like James Kirkland was harder to beat when he was working with Ann Wolfe. And then for whatever reason, they kind of went their own ways. And, you know, James Kirkland should have had her for like Canelo fights. Not saying that absolutely would have made a difference, but it might have made somewhat of a difference, right? So I like what I seen from Shadasia Green. I seen the strength, I seen the power, I seen some boxing, some shoulder rolling, and, you know, some defense. Curry was game in terms of trying, but she was really just losing, getting picked apart. There were several moments, round 6 or 7, she was badly hurt and it looked close to a stoppage. I'm talking about she had noodle legs, kind of like when Zab Judah got up from the Costa Zoo. Her legs looked done. And the DAZN commentators were saying she was off balance, but it looked like she was rocked. Off balance is off balance, but she looked like she almost couldn't stand. And again, if there were a little bit longer rounds, Green might have been able to add to her knockout ratio. Now, on my post-fight breakdowns, I give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. I told you the good for Shadasia Green. Beautiful performance. This helps her to land a fight with possibly Claressa Shields, which is a fight some people want to see. And, you know, I ain't got really nothing negative to say. But in terms of the bad and the ugly, I got to give that to the DAZN commentary team. And just to give you guys a summary in case you didn't watch it, the DAZN commentary team, they were like almost on Curry's nuts, if you will, and she wasn't really doing much. And they're like, oh, she's tough, she's game. I'm talking about early in the fight, and they were making it look like she was doing something. And I didn't really see that. I thought Shadasia Green was economical with her punches, but she was landing the better assortment and selection of shots, and she was conserving her energy. Yeah, she could pick up the pace, but my style of commentary, and this is why I'm the best in the business, is because I'm going to give credit where credit's due. You know, credit to everybody that laces them up for sure. But if I see a performance like the Green, then I'm going to talk about a lot of what Green is doing right and less of, oh, so-and-so showed heart and chin. And I don't really care about heart, chin, and toughness. You know, I think people in boxing, including boxing commentators and boxers and stuff like that, they seem to be enamored with somebody being tough. You know, I'm sure Mike Tyson fought. I know for a fact when Tyson first turned pro, he had fought like 19 people in a row in 1 year. And then he fought this one white dude or Italian dude or something, and he just couldn't knock the dude out. I forgot the guy's name. But I've seen journeymen that are tough. Broken nose, broken jaw, and on some Rocky Balboa stuff. I'm not giving that much credence. And I felt like the DAZN commentary team kept talking about what Curry was doing well. And then when the fight got away from Curry and then she was visibly staggering and rocked, I seen a change in their commentary. And they were basically saying, oh, if she doesn't get knocked out, it's a moral victory and Shadasia Green should really try to get the stoppage. And I just don't understand commentary like that. Why are we criticizing and nitpicking the person who's pulled away and showing complete separation, hurting the other, not getting hurt themselves, and boxing beautifully with some aggression because of nitpicks like, oh, she should pick up the pace and stuff? The bottom line is she's winning. And the commentary team was almost painting a false picture that Curry was doing so much. She's not even a girl. Like, they go to fighter meetings and stuff to rehearse and research the fighters and whatnot. And this girl had like 20-something% knockout ratio. So it's not a big puncher. So that's definitely halfway with your legs is buckling and, you know, being tough. That's not really the predicament you want to be halfway through the fight, because at the end of the day, you don't look like you have the power. You know, anything can happen in boxing, but per your record, it doesn't look like you have the type of power to have game-changing, you know, one round and get something done, so you don't want to fall behind. So I thought the DAZN, the bad and the ugly was DAZN commentary by and large. They were just painting out a fight that I wasn't watching. I just seen Green getting off and boxing well, and they were almost like, oh, Green needs to get the knockout, and if they don't get the knockout, you know, that's going to hurt her for picking up future fights. But what about Curry, who's getting battered and, you know, brains spilled everywhere? It just doesn't make sense to have commentary like that. There was even a point where Sean Porter, who was on the mic, he said something like, oh, I'm not seeing the meanness from Shadasia Green. I thought we would see more meanness. She's supposed to be a knockout artist. And then literally as soon as those words left his mouth, Shadasia started landing like vicious combinations, hurt Curry again. And then Sean Porter immediately changed what he was saying and said, that's the meanness I was talking about. But you weren't talking about it because you just said she hadn't been showing you the meanness. You know, so it's like you almost spoke too soon. I've seen Tim Bradley on ESPN do this a lot too, where he's saying like Fulton's getting all this stuff done, and then when Fulton starts getting pieced up by Inoue or whatever fight, then he'll be like, I told you Inoue was a beast. I told you he was pulling away. And I'm like, what? That's not what you were just saying seconds ago. So kind of weird on the commentary, but again, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Shout out to Shadasia Green. Definitely someone to watch. Potential future option for Claressa Shields. If you watch the fight, leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think of them.